We've got Dr. Jack Madden and Dr. Joe Samuel here, the Emerging Leaders Conference co-convenors for this year. Hi guys, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, what was the conference this year? Why was that different to previous conferences?
So this is the second year it's been called the Emerging Leaders Conference, but this year was different because we had more of an international theme to it. The theme was Leaders Without Borders, but it's the first time that we've invited international guests outside of Australia and New Zealand. So we had 9 countries, and including 7 presidents from colleges around the world, which made it particularly unique. We collected all the delegates and speakers on Friday afternoon, albeit some of them were quite tired and straight off the plane. And we scooped them up and took them to the beautiful Sajana Hotel. And then from there we started them off with a pretty intensive and exciting team building activity. And then that eased them into the weekend and broke down a few barriers from there.
Do you feel like that went quite well?
Absolutely, and a few people said that that was a great way to start the conference, so that was good.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the theme?
So Jack and I picked the theme Leaders Without Borders to facilitate discussion not just about the geographical barriers, but also the hidden unspoken barriers such as cultural, hierarchical, societal barriers, and also technological sort of barriers that would prevent people from becoming effective leaders. And we felt that this would be a good forum to facilitate that discussion.
And what about the program itself? What did that involve?
So after the first day, which was all about breaking the ice, the Saturday was a big day. The morning was spent with a world leader in organisational psychology, Andrew Beveridge, and he normally works with corporate groups and gets them thinking about their leadership styles. And so this was a chance for him to make us reflect on our leadership styles and then give us a framework to work through things like giving feedback, coaching, and leading within the operating theatre and also within your departments. The afternoon started off with Professor Harriet Hopp from the University of Utah, and she was fantastic in delivering a speech on an unusual topic, which was how to say no. And then that was followed by Nicole Phillips, the Director of Professional Affairs with the college, and that was focusing on gender equity. And she's had a lot to do with that, along with the events team as well from ANZCA, and we've achieved a lot in the last 2 years on that, and it was fantastic to see how much progress we've made with that. Given that our conference this year was actually had roughly the same males and females, but actually more females than males for the first time ever. And also the speakers were even as well. And then we finished up with Stuart Marshall, who's a world leader in human factors and also has a PhD in cognitive engineering, which was something that was new for us. And he spoke to us about facets of anaesthetic leadership and really gave us a cutting edge look at where leadership is going and made us critically think about what we thought leadership was.
So day 2 was quite packed, and so we kicked off day 3 with a session on mindfulness from Dr. Bruno Cayun from Hobart. As we know, anaesthetists do suffer with high suicide rates, and he basically talked about the science behind mindfulness and why it works, and that was a very useful session for us as anaesthetists, I felt. And then we had 2 very stimulating discussions with a panel of the 5 presidents that we had and leaders from the college and council members. We had very stimulating discussion about issues that are pertinent to the field of anaesthesia now and in the future and how we can tackle those issues. And our final speaker for the day was a really inspiring speaker from Malaysia. She's a prominent lawyer and human rights advocate who has been granted several awards, including the International Women of Courage Award and also a United Nations Award. And she was instrumental in effecting change, which resulted in a change of government in Malaysia for the first time last year after 61 years of opposition rule. She was very inspiring, humble, and I think it closed the meeting at a high note here.
Absolutely, that sounds fantastic. What about the message that you guys were hoping attendees would take home?
Well, it's an interesting question because we went into it with the Leaders Without Borders theme, and that sort of got people thinking about what were the obstacles, apart from the geographical borders, what are the obstacles to leadership. And something that kept popping up over the weekend, which we didn't expect, was that self-belief and people believing that they can actually be a leader even though they don't think they're qualified. That kept coming up over and over, and the President's address on the Saturday night during dinner was also about that, saying a major obstacle to leadership is self-belief. And so I suppose the closing thought was that everyday people are leaders, and that so anyone can fill that role.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Some really inspirational words there. So enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you very much.